Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I want to talk to you about Splex GG. It's a website that uses certain algorithms and bots to list and relist your card assets if you give it permission, so that it can maximize the rental cost and value that you're going to receive for those card assets, those non-fungible tokens that you own. And so it's one way to unlock profit power from that time and attention that you invested to accumulate those cards in the first place. I think it's great. Let's talk about what I've earned with it over the last 5-6 days. And there's fees associated. We'll talk about that. And just generally speaking, I want to unpack what it's doing for me and why I like using it. Okay. I'm sure this is going to be a little bit controversial because it has something to do with the people who've created ArchMageBot, and you guys are fired up about that. So maybe we'll sidestep that question because I got a big video coming out on that one. But let's talk about the rental profits available to you. Let's get into it. So Splex GG is just it used to be called Rent Column or Rent. I think it was Rent Column. And they rebranded Splex GG. You can find them at splex.gg. And I guess it's .com. Let's see. HTTPS splex.gg/accounts, I guess. And you can get them on Discord too if you want to learn more about what they're up to before you sign up. But you would, if you're interested, you would go to the website and you would add your account. It's as simple as going to add an account and then typing in your username and then ultimately the keys that you're going to need to share the keys with them, because you want them to be able to list rentals on your behalf. It's not much to it. You're giving posting keys, and those posting keys are going to be able to list cards. They're not going to be able to move funds out of your account. That's super important. With that threshold of approval, they're not going to be able to move your DEC out themselves. In fact, on it, every single day they make me money, and then I have to come in here and pay my invoice. So they give a little invoice and they charge a fee, and the fee is based at 10% based on the amount of revenue they generated for me. And then this one's not yet paid, so I have to go over here and click on this button and I pay $18.83, which is today's fee, which is a buck 10. As you can see, they made me roughly $11 today, and I have to pay them $1. And that's unlocking value for me. And so 20,000 DEC today, 15 yesterday, 15 the day before, 16 the day before that, 25 the day before that, and 32 for the day before that. Huge 20% cost in the first day, but they've dropped the fee to 10%. And there's a loyalty tier at higher levels of DEC rental. So that's interesting for me because I have enough assets. I could probably reach that if I just move more assets into this account. I'm not going to talk so much about how I can maximize it because my deck is unusually large. I recognize most of you don't have 2.2 million power in one account. I've got about 5 million power across the entire game. But the interesting thing is, this is automating a process that I don't want to deal with. And I was refusing to deal with up until the time that I decided, fine. If they can charge me a fee and they can make me a significant profit daily, I'm going to give it a shot. That's what I said to myself. If they can make a profit for me and charge me a fee doing so, fine. I'm happy if you make money, so long as I get a slice and I'm getting the lion's share and they're just getting a slice. Works for me. And I could do this by myself. I don't need a bot to do this. There's nothing broken about what they're doing here. There's nothing, unfair or, exploitive about what they're doing here. This bot is just using my permission to then list cards on the marketplace, and it has to use my RC, my resource credits, meaning I have to have staked Hive on my account. So it's mandating investment in the Hive blockchain. That's really cool. From like a long-term sustainability standpoint, it's mandating investment in the Hive blockchain, which is establishing credibility and more value and investment in the blockchain on which our video game Splinterlands is based. That's a great thing. It's actually almost a separate conversation, so we'll leave it at that. But that's a cool thing, because you need to have resource credits in order for the bot to then post and repost your cards for varying prices. Because what it does and what you could do first, what does it do? It goes in and it looks at what cards I have available that are not yet rented, and it only rents cards that are more than, I think, 10 B, that are more than 10 CP. Cards that are less than 10 CP, it won't rent them. And let's see, cards on the market for rent. These are my cards that are for rent, and these are my cards that are for rent that are not delegated. So I have a lot of cards that are currently on the marketplace that no one has rented. And as you can see, there's about 4,000 DEC worth of cards that have not been rented that are currently listed. And what the bot is doing is every so often it's popping into my account on the marketplace, and it's grabbing all my cards that are not yet rented, and it's just going over here and it's saying essentially rent, change price, and it's filling out the, here, let's just grab one for the sake of simplicity. This one card, and we go over here. Oops, that's why Byzantine Kitty was selected. We just go rent, change price, and then this is what the game is doing. This is what the bot is doing. It's grabbing all my cards that are not yet rented, and it's coming in here and it's going to load. And that just lowered the price a little, and it's going confirm. That's it. That's all the bot is doing, and it's doing it once an hour or more often in certain settings. You can actually tweak how regularly it's doing that. So that's easy, right? Why don't I just do it by myself? Why don't I skip the fee and do it by myself? Well, I have thousands and thousands of cards. I think I have about 8,000 cards on this one account, maybe more. It might be like 10,000 cards on this one account. And you can only grab 1,000 at a time. And there's always some little nuisance, like this card here was recently played, so it can't be listed. So there's all these little hiccups, and you go and you get 1,000 cards, or you get, in this case, 887 cards that are not listed, and you go to click rent, and like something will be wrong with the button, and it's just not quite working, and you're like, what's going on? I don't know. There's always some little thing, and then sometimes Peak Monsters is having troubles, or the Hive, blockchain is having troubles. There's always some little hiccup, and it's so annoying and frustrating. I hate dealing with it, and therefore I never dealt with it. So I let these cards just sit in my account doing nothing for days at a time sometimes when I'm too busy with YouTube or real life stuff. And as a result, I'm lost money. Like, I threw it out the window. It didn't materialize into anything. But now I just give access a totally safe way. I give posting key access to a bot that's run by a reputable community member. SpleXGG is a community member for Splinterlands. Like, they are participating in this space. They're adding utility for the players. Say what you want about what they've done with Archmage. They are adding utility for the players, and they're providing a service, and they're receiving a fee. I'm, as a recipient of the service they're providing, I'm happy to pay that fee. I'm grateful that they're here doing what they're doing. And they recently lowered the fee from 20 to 10%. That's a gigantic discount. And that was just because they reached a certain amount of, like, a tipping point where enough participants were using their service where they were able to lower the fee and still be profitable. So, one, they're providing a service that I like. Two, they're receiving a fee for the provision of that service. Great. That's free market capitalism. And three, I wasn't unlocking any of the value of my cards many days of the month because I wasn't playing and I wasn't renting. And so four, they're helping me do that, and they've recently cut their fee in half. Sign me up, let's go. And now this isn't available to, this isn't going to be the same thing for everybody. Let's be clear. I have a lot of cards, and that's why I'm able to accumulate a lot of DEC daily. But interestingly, you can go. So here, if you just come to SpleXGG's front page, their home page here, you can actually see the rental services explained, and you can see just by looking up your account, entering your name, and not providing any keys whatsoever, you can just check what your account could earn today. And you might find that it's hundreds of DEC, or maybe it's thousands. And yeah, there's a fee associated with it. But if you're just sitting on the cards anyways, maybe this is worth it. With my D Cunningham account, I have about 400,000 collection power on that account, as opposed to the 2.2 million on Infidel. And so I would probably guess this will be with 3,000 DEC, 4,000 DEC a day, potentially. And it gives you a range that approximates what you might expect. See, these numbers are just rough estimates for your account. We use the values of the cards that are actually rented out of our system right now. We've compared the results to many of our managed accounts, and these results would range within 5 to 20% of the actual rents our managed accounts are receiving. This calculation includes all cards on the accounts, including delegated cards and cards on cooldown. This is an experimental feature that might be off on edge cases. But look, predicted average rent, 3,500. I said roughly 4,000, I think. 3,500. Maximum predicted rent would be around 9,100, and that's probably going to be toward the end of the season. I've seen in my short time using the system that at the end of the season you're going to see a real uptick, like a doubling of what you might be capable of earning otherwise. And there's 3,500 cards in this account, and so I'm not going to do that with my D Cunningham account because I am using that account through a scholar, so that's being actively played regularly, and that's fine. I like that. This is just one other tool that might mean something to some of you. And if you're sitting on cards and you find there are days going by, or for that matter, weeks going by where you are absent and you're not playing, this is going to unlock power for you. This is going to unlock value for the time and attention you previously put into this game to have first accumulated those cards. And so now don't sit on them and let them, don't just wait on the price appreciation. I think that's one important thing that's going to come for you. Great. Price appreciation will come over a long enough time horizon. But in the meantime, if you're not playing, take advantage of this. So yeah, there's a fee. But if you're not willing to pop into the marketplace daily and probably once an hour, every hour, and do this thing where you're going to grab all the cards and you're going to tweak the rental prices, and then a bot service like Splex is really going to be potentially very helpful to you. And so that's all I wanted to say. I'm enjoying it, and it's super simple, and it's safe and secure. You can pay in DEC or you can pay in SPS. I'm paying in DEC because they've earned me DEC, so I just send right back 10% of that DEC. I'm happy to do it that way. I don't want to. My SPS is precious to me. Yeah, I think it's a very helpful service, and I'm happy to pay it, and I'm happy to share my excitement over it. So if you have any extra questions about this, drop them below. I do think this is really helpful. And interestingly, one last thing before we go, if you are using it and you think, well, there are days where I want to play and there are days where I don't, you can do all kinds of things, such as disable it when you want to play. Now, if your cards are being rented, you'd have to wait 24 hours for them to be yours again, essentially. But just one click away, disable, and then suddenly tomorrow they're going to be available to you. If you knew tomorrow you're going to have the day off and you think I'm going to want to play then, but just go ahead and click disable. But in the meantime, 3, 5, 10 days are going by and you're earning with this thing. And I've found it's paying quite well. So I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you guys for your time and attention. Have an amazing day. God bless.